Thank you, Suvra. So as I was saying, I'm not answering any questions. No questions. Please do not put any questions in the chat. I am not answering questions until further notice. If I say no, that means no. If you ask me a question after I say all of this, then I'm just gonna block you because I don't tolerate people who don't listen and want to cross a boundary. I don't like that at all. I've experienced that way too many times in my real life to allow anybody to do that to me online. Okay, so I'm doing a general reading for all signs. No questions. No questions. No questions. And I put subscriber mode on too because I don't want anyone to just come onto my channel and then start demanding me to answer questions for them. Because I'm not a machine, I'm a human being. I have boundaries. And just as everybody else has boundaries, it's important to respect mine just as much as I respect yours, you know? So I'm okay with losing subscribers. I'm okay with that because I don't want selfish, inconsiderate people following me. I don't want selfish, inconsiderate people subscribe to me. You're not my people. Okay? And I think anybody who's been violated in any way where you said no and they didn't listen, you understand. No means no in any circumstances. Okay? So let's see what the collective needs to know at this time. So I'm going into the clarifying love situations deck to see what cards come out. I have this card cassette. Outdated beliefs, old-fashioned conditioning, replaying events, older traditional dating. So some of you may be old-fashioned, maybe traditional, wanting to, and you know what's funny? Some of these cards came out earlier in my previous. So this message is definitely was triggered earlier. Hi, Carolyn. Just so you know, I'm not answering any questions. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put that in the pinned comment, but not everybody reads the pinned comment. I'm not answering any questions. Earlier, I was not happy. And I was unhappy and I let it be known. Like, if you're not happy and you know it, clap your hands. That was me earlier. I clapped. Thank you, Carolyn. I really appreciate your understanding. Because some people, they don't get it. I need to like have this already, like I had to have this already put in the chat so I don't have to waste any time. But you know what? I don't even need to put it in the chat. You know, I have subscriber mode on. And then if anybody asks a question, if you're still around, feel free to let them know I'm not answering questions. That will really help me stay on track when it comes to the readings, because if I had to stop and then it disrupts the flow. Okay, so it's interesting that in the earlier live stream that I ended up scrapping, the card cassette and heart and key came out, you know? So we'll take some time to grow. Cassettes are old fashioned, you know, they're vintage, they're maybe even antique, depending on how young you are. You know, for me, I remember cassettes, but it's old school. It's, I would say this may resonate with anybody from like the 70s and 80s and 90s, because that's when cassette tapes were very popular, right? So that could be the decade you were born. Yes, thank you, Carolyn. So outdated beliefs, old-fashioned conditioning, replaying events, older traditional dating. So someone may be reflecting on something that's happened in the past, maybe old-fashioned with their approach with dating, with love, maybe even just not only replaying events, but also continuing to do things the way they used to do it. You know, even if it's no longer working, it's no longer serving, they still, like, it's a habit. Maybe this person could be a creature of habit. Maybe you may resonate with this. With the heart and key, it is safe for you to love, open to love, perfect match, meeting the one, easy to love, complement each other. Another thing too with the cassette and it is safe to love, some of you may have old-fashioned ideas about what love is for you. You may want to have a more traditional relationship. You don't want anything that's casual, situationship, friends with benefits, FBs. anything like that, you take relationships seriously. You don't, and it's maybe in the past you've experienced a lot of relationships where you maybe try to accept the bare minimum from people, or even accept situations where they weren't aligned to your maybe old-fashioned beliefs or old-fashioned standards, or what's considered old-fashioned, and with the healing card coming out, healing emotional wounds, recovering, repairing, improving, shadow work, deep healing, getting over something. If you, I don't know if some of you felt like you weren't worthy of being in a serious relationship. So you dealt with people who gave you the bare minimum, gave you attention, and you were just happy with that because it made you feel valued, made you feel seen and desired. Some people need that, but maybe some of you are realizing that in those circumstances, those situations, you were causing yourself more harm by experiencing relationships that really didn't validate your value, but it's a moment for you, or you may be realizing that you need to validate yourself. And yeah, it's good to have those standards, wanting to have a traditional relationship, whatever that means to you, or even having your own standard of the type of relationship you want. There could be somebody out there who will complement you, who can match you with the same, like having the same desires, wanting the same future, same outcome as you. But it's a matter of you feeling and healing those parts of you that maybe have accepted the bare minimum for people. You realizing that, in order for you to have the type of relationship you want, you have to value yourself, and that you have to have respect for yourself. A challenging connection. Maybe you experienced a connection in the past that, maybe the last connection, if this resonates with you, if you were someone who accepted the bare minimum, and that was the last relationship, the catalyst that kind of forced you to reflect on yourself, reflect on what you were accepting. And even like I don't know, some of you may have questioned, like, what the hell's wrong with me? Why do I keep attracting the same type of people? Why do I accept the bare minimum? Why do I engage with these people? That may be a question you may be asking yourself, and that's part of shadow work. And when you start to answer those questions for yourself, then you gain a better understanding where they come from. The acceptance of low, like, behaviors that don't align with what you desire, what you want, what you long for, could stem from like how you were raised as a child. Maybe your parent. And I know people don't really like talking about like, oh, the childhood, and you blaming the parent. But sometimes, our parents teach us certain things that aren't good for us. I would say our parents often teach us how to hurt ourselves, or allow people to hurt us, because they're usually the first people to hurt us. They condition us in a certain way. So some of you may be trying to recondition yourself to change how you see yourself, and the way you perceive yourself, and how you show up, and how you respect yourself, and create boundaries and establish boundaries. Create and establish are basically the same thing, but you are firm with them. You don't allow anybody to cross them in any way, is how you're protecting yourself from being triggered by people, or engaging in situations that trigger those childhood wounds that you may have, with insecurity, unworthiness, not feeling valued, not feeling seen, not feeling understood, feeling like you always have to prove yourself to other people. You want to be with people who allow you to be yourself, allow you to be your best self, maybe even allow you to be your full, authentic self, where you don't feel like you have to minimize yourself to fit into some sort of mold that wasn't meant for you to fit in. We're all unique and different in our own ways, and the right people will accept us, and wouldn't expect us to change or shapeshift into whatever they want. If we feel the need to change, or someone feels they need to change for us, then that's like proof that there is no alignment there. You're not aligned with this person. You want someone who is going to make you feel at home and with yourself, but will feel at home with you, where they can be the same. They could feel safe with you. They could feel like they can be themselves, and that you're essentially like nurturing yourselves and each other in the connection, and nurturing the connection itself. Let's see. I want to see what else comes out. should go into tarot. Wait, should I go into tarot? I'm trying to see. I'm trying to feel this out. In my mind, I'm like, is this new love? Is there new love coming? Because I'm like, I was thinking about shuffling the cards and seeing if a new love comes up. I look at the bottom of the deck and it says love offer. Love will be reciprocated. Maybe you were in situations where the love wasn't reciprocated. Maybe it was one-sided love. One-sided. Ready to give, honest offer, making it official, serious talk, building a secure foundation. This can be something that's scary too. Because if you've experienced a lot of relationships or relationship dynamics, situationships, FBs, FWBs, SWV, SUV, I don't know what kind of stuff you were dealing with, but that could take a toll on your self-esteem, but also you don't want to be given false hope. You want to know that something's real, that it's authentic. Is this a real love offer or is this a facade? Is this real or is this fake? Maybe you felt like in the past, I would say the whole point of me saying that is that when something authentic, something true, something real comes along where your feelings you may have for somebody in the future will be reciprocated, I would say some of you may feel scared about that. It may frighten you because it's going to be foreign to you. It's going to be different than you've ever expected. And I would say some of you might even try to self-sabotage because the creeping thought that you're not good enough will try to come up and may even cause you to do or say things that will interfere with this relationship, try to sabotage it because, that it's that fear that you have that you may not be good enough. You could, and it happens. Sometimes these fears, they just come out of nowhere where you may feel completely confident, feel good about yourself, but then somebody comes in and they want to give you everything that you want. And you're like, oh my God, is this real? Is this fucking real? No, I gonna fuck this shit up right now, and then and you know what they say, if it's meant for you, you can never mess it up. And maybe you're testing that theory. You may be like, well, if it's meant for me, let me do the most and let me do the worst and see, will this person stay around? Some of you may be testing someone to see how much they love you. How much are they willing to accept from you because of your fear? But that's not really fair to the person, especially if they've taken the time or they will take the time to really prove who they are, like their actions match their words. You don't want to be punishing someone for someone else's mistakes. And you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. It wouldn't be fair if they have their own fears from past relationships and then they try to put that on you when you didn't do anything to them. It's not fair to that person. And it wouldn't be fair to you if they did the same. So if it could be that, like maybe, you and this person may share those types of experiences where you felt like you were unvalued, unappreciated, like what you did wasn't good enough, or it was one-sided relationships where you did a lot, you gave a lot, you were there for someone, but they never reciprocated that to you. And this person is like, maybe both of you may have your guard up and may, try to withhold certain things just to see, or as a way of defending yourself, or as a defense mechanism is what I want to say. That happens sometimes, but okay. But it's a new love offer. It's so funny because remember I was talking about your fears, your insecurities could get in the way. You might test somebody. It's like the devil on your shoulder. Remember when somebody did that? And then you're like, yes, I remember. This seems so familiar. Is this person going to do the same thing? But then it's like, this is a different person. Maybe not there. It's not going to have the same ending as it was with those other people. The devil is underneath. This is your fears, your insecurities, those toxic belief systems that were instilled in you by the past relationships you had, and even the way you were treated as a child. Because I don't think people understand that when you are mentally or emotionally abused as a child, if you've been neglected in any way, and it's not an excuse, it's just an explanation. And it's important for people to understand that about other people, but also about themselves. Because when you have that understanding, you have that clarity, then you know exactly what you need to work on. You know what your devil is. Whoever you're dealing with may know what their devil is, because we all have different devils. It's different things that can interfere with a relationship, even interfere with our own personal growth and healing, you know? It's like, don't allow your fears to interfere with something, especially if you are experiencing something that is different than what you've ever expected. And you can't, use your discernment. See if there are any patterns, but also allow things to play out on their own, rather than trying to predict an outcome, because that predicted outcome may never happen. And that could be a fear that you're just creating a scenario in your own mind that you're creating that does not fit the situation at all. It may not even fit with this person. It's like, once you are able to overcome that devil, that you can quell your fears, your insecurities, it says, into dangerous territory: codependent obsession, possession, major blocks, abuse, control, addiction, manipulation. We could do that to ourselves. We could gaslight ourselves. People can do that just as much, right? But you already know what that looks like. You should be aware of it. If you don't, then you should Google it, so you know what to look out for. But if you've experienced not the best situations where you felt like you were manipulated, you were gaslighted, then you already know what to look out for. But always ask questions, ask for clarity, and anybody who loves you wouldn't mind answering those questions for you. Because if they love you, they want to reassure you. They want you to feel safe, and they want you to feel like you'll be able to open up to them. Because when you open up to them, that creates a space for them to open up to you. It creates a space for both of you to be vulnerable with each other, Hi, good luck. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, so sometimes we could get addicted to these scenarios that we create in our mind, because it's this way of protecting ourselves, because we create these scenarios and then we think about, okay, if this happens, then this is what I'm going to do. And then you're just stressing yourself out for no reason, because that scenario never plays out, and then you're going to be thinking about all the mental and emotional energy that you've expended on something that didn't even happen. It's like, you got to free yourself. You got to unchain yourself from this. You have to disconnect from that. You got to detach from that scared person that you were taught to be by your parents, by lovers, past experiences. But it's like, once you're able to do that, you're going to see changes. You're going to see things move along. You're going to, like, it's a strike. Expect to see major progress, victory, conquering, winning, perfection on track, accurate, faultless, yes, direct approach. If there are certain things that are concerning to you when this new person comes along, and I say, just be honest and open, but don't try to antagonize them. Don't attack them with your fears, because especially if they didn't do anything to you, this is someone who wants to reciprocate love to you. They come with their own baggage just as much as you do, but you don't want your baggage and their baggage to create a new type of baggage, a new type of garbage, a new type of trash, a new way of healing, You want to be in a relationship that's healing to both of you and allows you to have a healthy relationship, a healthy dynamic. You may be meeting this person online. If you are trying online dating, I will always suggest that you take precautions. Take precautions. Make sure you're dealing with an actual person, and that they are who they say they are. Video calls, all that stuff where you could see each other. You have to protect yourself nowadays. Yeah. And make sure that you are not letting your emotions control your actions. You don't want to create drama in situations where drama doesn't exist. And my mind is like, you want your love life to be like a rom-com, not a freaking drama, not like a freaking, how come I'm thinking about a thriller, you know what I mean? And, sometimes there's a little bit of drama. So if you're someone that you can become a bit dramatic, I would say be careful with that too, and then just thinking about a movie, rom-com. It made me think about rom-com. We want that, you know. It's important to communicate clearly. And honestly with each other but the most important thing is being honest with yourself, when it comes to this. Okay. Let me see. Do I have any other decks? Okay, I have this one, this one, this one. I have my tarot deck. I didn't know what kind of reading this was going to become. But let's see what does the oh, excuse me. What does the collective need to know? What does the collective need to know? What does the collective need to know? I'm going to take the first card I saw. It was a bunch of cards, Two of Cups. Look at that. Reciprocated love. This card came out, Ten of Pentacles. I was being nosy. Oh, Lord. I'm like, you don't know this is coming. Look at this. I got the Two of Cups. I showed this to you, right? Look what came out with it. The Lovers. And then we have the Moon. You don't know this is coming. Look at that. I love this because you know what? If you look at all these three cards, two people facing each other, giving to each other, reciprocal love. It could be somebody that's a friend too. This could be someone who's a friend to you. But then look how they're looking at each other. It could be like you and this person, you connect to each other. You share emotions, you share your experiences, but then it progresses into this. And this is one of my favorite lovers cards because the way they're looking at each other, it's like, it just reminds me of like a really deep love. Like this is where you admire each other, you get lost in each other, but not in like a sick cycle way, you know what I mean? Like in a way, like, I want to say soul recognition. But then if you look at the Ten of Pentacles, look at that right there, those people. Look at that. It's like you and this person could create a beautiful, stable, solid relationship with each other. And like, these are like the best cards when it comes to love reading. And like I said, I didn't know what kind of reading this was going to be. I mean, these are love cards, but not everything I could read outside of love, but this is love. But then to get the Two of Cups and the Lovers, the fact that Two of Cups is here and the Lovers come out, this is a romantic reading. Some of you, your person may be the same race as you, and I don't believe in race. We're all human. They may come from the same ethnicity. You may come from the same culture, or they could be totally different from you, So this reading is for anybody who resonates with the oracle message that I read earlier. This is possible. All of this is possible. Ten of Pentacles. All right, let me read the cards. So Two of Cups is like a friendship. Two people coming together, sharing emotions, being open, honest, and vulnerable with each other, learning about each other. It's like friendship, and that's the best way to start any relationship is to be friends, because it takes the pressure of our relationship off the table, because you get to, like I said, when I was in Seattle, it's like you get a backstage pass to this person's life. You see things that no one else will see. Especially if you develop a deep bond with them where you have intimate conversations and you talk about things that you probably didn't talk about with other people, because there's like a trust there. You see each other, you see, the honesty and openness that both of you have. with your shared experiences. And so there's that understanding of each other, right? But then this is like the development of a deep love connection. The lovers is about the choice. And I feel like in this reading, it's like you're going to be meeting someone who's going to choose you just as much as you choose them. You know, you're going to be like, I feel like, I want to say you're going to be dedicated to each other. And I don't mean that in a like a codependent type of way. I just feel like there's this like this sense of belonging that you have with this person, you know, where you create a deep bond, but it's one that can stand the test of time with the Ten of Pentacles. This is a long-term, stable, solid connection that you may be coming into. But remember, it's like you had to release the past. You have to heal from the past. You have to heal any wounds that you have that you may have experienced from your childhood and past relationships. And you have to know that you are worthy. You deserve love just as much as everybody else. And yeah, you experience shitty situations, but they taught you what you don't want anymore, and how important it is for you to value yourself. And in turn, that will teach other people to value you. You putting up boundaries and knowing who respects them or not. And I was talking about boundaries earlier today, you know. But the Moon card for me, because the Lovers is Gemini energy, right? But we have the Moon, which is Cancer, Pisces energy. So I feel like the Moon is about secrets, things that are hidden in the dark. You know, this could be something that you've thought about. I don't know if some of you have manifested, but look at this. There's a full moon in this deck. I mean, like this card. I think all the moon cards have a full moon, but we are going to have a full moon in Scorpio on May 1st. And Scorpio is the sign of transformation, is the sign of endings and new beginnings. So some of you already know there are certain things that you have to release, that you have to let go. And that's what the full moons are about too. It's about what you're going to release. What are you going to release? What do you need to release? You know, you have to release your fears, because the moon is subconscious fears. You have to start asking yourself those questions, like what, like if you're replaying certain events in your mind, it's time to analyze them, you know, dissect them, know where they're coming from. Why are you replaying these events? You may haven't taken time to actually unpack them. And when you do that, and once you're able to process it and understand and come to some sort of conclusion that in turn leads to healing, that's what's going to allow you to release the past, release anything, any limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. And this could be what the other person needs to do too. I mean, healing goes both ways. You want to have a healthy relationship, then you have to be a healthy individual. And the person that wants to be with you, they also have to be healthy too. You know, I like this. I love that the Two of Cups and the Lovers came out together, because this is definitely a love reading. And the way these cards are, just the dedication, the devotion, the love, the tenderness from this type of relationship is going to be, I say some people, if you never experienced this may be scary for you. And especially if this is something that you've been wanting for a long time, and you notice that some of you may want to create arguments because self-sabotage wants to come in, you know, like that little devil on your shoulder that's like, you don't deserve this, you know, those dumb beliefs that you keep replaying in your mind that are like, that you need to release, that you need to like take the tape and take that damn string out of it, like destroy it, you know what I mean, with the cassette. I'm surprised that if that's you, that the tape hasn't done that already. You know, when you're playing a cassette tape and then it gets to a point where it comes out, the tape inside comes out and it gets destroyed. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, if that's not going to happen, then you got to do that yourself. My ear is ringing. I love this for you, for whoever this resonates with, you know. And I think a lot of people who have insecurities and fears about love, and even have that fear that they may not meet anybody, you have to understand that where is that fear stemming from? Why don't you think you won't meet anyone? What is it about you that you feel like is undesirable? And is this something that you can change? Is this something that you can improve upon? Or is this something that you have to accept because it is a part of who you are? It's not something that you can remove easily. You know, is it about your body? Is it your self-esteem, about your appearance? You know, do you think you're not funny enough? You're not smart enough? You're not attractive enough? You know, then what can you do for yourself to make yourself feel better? You know, but if it's something that it's just a change of mindset, then that's something that you may need help with. You know, you could go to a therapist, a counselor. They help because they guide you. They will give you the support you need, and also they will provide you an outlet for you to purge those beliefs. And they also help guide you in unpacking and processing, and you know, finally closing out those cycles that you've been replaying in your mind, or maybe even replaying in real life. You know. So that's that for that reading. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I did. When I saw the Lover's card with the Two of Cups, I really liked it. But earlier I was so upset. I got so annoyed. I got so annoyed by people. I honestly contemplated not coming back on. But I was like, I'm not gonna, and those people may not have had ill intentions. I don't think one person at least didn't. But I don't like when people badger, like, hey, look at my question. I don't like that. I said no. Like, I'm gonna say no. They're no better. Anybody who, if you say no to somebody and they don't listen to you, they're no better than an R word. Okay? Because no means no. In any circumstance, no means no. Okay? It doesn't matter. You know, no means no. People have to respect your no. Okay. I thought I do have another deck. Okay. All right, let's see what comes out. So I have another deck. It's the Divine Timing deck from Aruk X. It has yes or no on it. So in your mind, not in the chat, please, you could, if you want, you could have some questions in your mind, and we could see, you can see if they answer the questions for you. But this deck of cards not only has yes or no's on them, but they also have time periods. So some of you may have a question about a time period, but in your mind, I don't want to see it in the chat. You may have a question about a time limit. When something may be happening, is something going to happen? Or you just have like this question, internal question that you have. Maybe these cards will provide you an answer. Maybe I will provide you an answer with this particular deck, with the message I get. So what message does the collective need to know at this time? Let me see. Where's my other phone at? Okay. What message does the collective need to know at this time? You know, I was watching Tyler's Tarot yesterday, and he was talking about, he asks the universe to show him things. And today I asked the universe to show me something very specific, you know? And right after I asked Spirit or universe to show me something, they showed it to me, like within seconds. If you want to see if you're connected, ask to be shown something specific, you know? And I asked for something that was kind of random, you know? But it showed up. I suggest you do that. That's just so you can see, are you protected? Are you connected? You know, it doesn't hurt to try out, you know? I did that and I saw them right away. I was like, thank you. Now I know I have to be careful what I'm thinking and what I'm saying because that's a form of manifestation. What I asked for was a sign, a specific sign. Hold on a minute. This chair. Okay. All right. My blouse is twisting and turning. Okay. So the first one is self-work. Identify your own toxic behaviors preventing you from having a healthy relationship. Wasn't I talking about this earlier with that reading? March. I don't know if some of you already have gone through a healing process and you've met somebody in March, or March could be your birth month. So March may be significant to you. So self-work. Work on yourself. It's like shadow work, healing, going to therapy, eating healthy, training, going to the gym, doing any kind of workout that you feel is good for you. Anything that's part of self-care. Working on yourself is self-care too. I know when you think of self-care, you're like manicures, pedicures, massages, getting your hair cut, hair done, nails done. It's not only that, it's also you taking time to yourself, to journal, to meditate, anything that you feel like is really good for you, good for you mentally and emotionally and even physically, Next card we have is questioning. So if you have a yes or no question in your mind, don't put it in the chat. It's a yes. So if there was something specific that you constantly been questioning, and it could be about anything. It doesn't have to only be about love. It could be about anything. This could be your confirmation questioning, but I'm going to read the message anyway because the message might resonate with somebody. It says, after no contact, they are wondering if they have lost you. They expected you to call. And then it says the time frame is during the festive season. So the next festive season that we have is Cinco de Mayo, which is May 5th, right? That's a festive season. A lot of people celebrate it because you get to drink margaritas, have tacos, a reason to have tasty drinks, right? If you're of age. But this is a 21 plus channel, okay? So if you're 18, goodbye. Like I could make somebody go away. As a Scorpio, I probably can, I'm joking. Yeah, so it says during the festive season. So I don't know if some of you have any festive seasons coming up in wherever you are, because I know I have people that live all over the world that come to my channel, mostly India and the UK. So there may be certain holidays that may be coming up. They expected you to call. So if there's somebody that you've been thinking about, so they may be contacting you. They may be waiting for you to contact them. If they were the reason why you're in no contact with them, let them sweat. Let them come with their tail between their legs. And if you have another question, right? It's a yes, right? But listening, they are choosing to follow their heart and not waste any more time thinking sooner than you think. And I said May 5th. May 5th is Cinco de Mayo in the U.S. I don't know what Cinco de Mayo. That's probably in Mexico too, right? It's their holiday. I think it's their, is it the Mexican Independence Day? I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I don't mind being corrected, but I'm going to Google it, of course. Cinco de Mayo. Is an annual celebration held on May 5th to celebrate Mexico's victory over the Second French Empire at the Battle of Puebla in 1862, led by General Ignacio Zaragoza. Okay. It's celebrated to honor Mexican heritage, resilience, and culture, particularly in the United States, where it has become a major cultural celebration rather than a primary national holiday in Mexico. Okay. The fact that I looked that up. I'm going to read something else to you because this is going to add to the message. Symbol of resistance. The victory came during a time when France aimed to establish a puppet state in Mexico. While not winning the war overall, the battle became an enduring symbol of resistance against foreign domination. I feel like like it says no contact, and now it's saying they're choosing to follow their heart and not waste any more time thinking. The resistance. They've been resisting this. That's why I felt like I had to read it. Why the hell did I have to look up Cinco de Mayo? Because it brought up about resistance. Somebody has been resisting coming forward, contacting you, communicating with you, coming, like I said, coming forward. May 5th is coming pretty soon, right? I think because today is the 22nd. Let's see. May 1st is when we have the full moon in Scorpio, and that's when things start to be revealed. And then this is when you know if you have to release something or are you going to continue on with something. You know, are there any changes, tweaks that you have to make, any adjustments that you need to make? But let me see when May 5th is. So May 1st is on a Friday, so May 5th is on a Tuesday. Okay, so that may be significant time frames for some of you if you're in a no contact situation that you've been questioning, you know, like, has this person been thinking about me? Yeah, they are thinking about you. They're wondering what you're doing. Are you seeing anybody else? Have you met anybody else? How would you react if they contacted you? Why haven't you contacted them? Some of you, I'm going to be honest, some of you, when you go on no contact, it's either you initiated it or they did. So if they initiated it, you get to decide if you want to resolve the matter. Have you been, I want to say been, why somebody says been like that, right? Have you been resisting contacting this person? Because it goes both ways. Everybody, like, there could be somebody that's like initiating no contact and it's like, no, because you did this or you said that. And I no longer want to talk to you until you apologize or you make amends. You do something right. You take accountability, you know, for whatever reason. Sometimes you go no contact because you just don't want to deal with somebody anymore. Like, that's your way of like cutting somebody off, you know. Silence is an answer in itself too. But there is somebody that is wondering, or you may be wondering, but some of you maybe have been resisting contacting this person, but you do want them. But it could be the other way around where they're resisting contacting you, you know, so it goes both ways. But if that's the case, this person or you, depends on the situation, right? Because everybody's situation is different. Somebody has been, or someone needs to do self-work. I don't know if somebody did something that kind of like turned you off or you turned somebody off. I know I do that sometimes with this mouth. They'll be like, what that mouth do? That mouth to curse you out. This is what this mouth do. You know, what does your mouth do? I'm curious. This mouth do other things too, but I'm joking. Not really. I'm a Scorpio. Have a sense of humor. I hope you do too. You know. Okay, what else? It's a collective need to know at this time. Hi, Paula. Career focused. You know, sometimes people focus on their career and say, I'm working on myself. Your career isn't your identity, bitch. Okay? You still got work to do. You know, I feel like somebody may be distracting from themselves from healing. But let me read what it says. Need career satisfaction and financial security before prioritizing love. And it's when you least expect it. See, we're getting during the festive season, sooner than you think. And then we have March, but March could be a month that you met. It could be an anniversary month. It could be like the day you met somebody or the month you met somebody. It could be your birth month. It could be their birth month, or it could be the month that something happened. Please take it as it resonates. But when you least expect it, something may be happening when you least expect it. You know, if some of you are single and you're very much focused on your career, there's going to be some sort of curveball coming towards you where you may be meeting someone unexpectedly. And you may use, I don't have time for this. I am focused on my career. I don't think I can, you know, like I can't prioritize a love relationship. You can, you know, it's about balance, you know, but that's if you want it, you know, if you really want something, then you will prioritize it. The same way someone could prioritize their career because they want to establish a career, have, elevate themselves financially or even in status. If you're you could also choose to prioritize a relationship, but it's all about balance. But it's also, if you want this, if you don't want it, then don't bother, they'll try to force something. If you don't want a relationship, then don't force being in a relationship, but don't give anybody false hope if they're wanting a relationship. And this is vice versa too, for whoever may be doing this, because sometimes this could be somebody's career focus who doesn't want to be in a relationship, but then they want the benefits of having you around. But you're like, you don't want to be with me, but you want me around. You don't want to be with me, but you want to be with me. So which one is it? Because both have different meanings. You know what I mean? Anything else for the collective? Oh, we got 2 cards that fall. Denial, friendship. I feel like some is in denial. Because denial and friendship came out together. So I don't know if some of you are in a friendship dynamic where it's kind of heading into a relationship territory, or it's like, I don't know, a situationship. I feel like it could be. Being in denial over the relationship ending. Okay, this is something totally different, right? Being in denial over the relationship ending is prolonging your own suffering. Time to let go. So there may be something that you need to release. If it's a one-sided type of relationship. But it could be too, they want to be friends first and take it slow to build a solid foundation. So they came out together, and it says, don't give up. I don't know, some of you are in a friendship dynamic where there are feelings there, but the person isn't really ready. Some of you may be in denial, like, look at everything that we do. We should be in a relationship, but the thing is, if a person doesn't really want to be in a relationship, then, just take it slow, maybe follow their pace. But if you feel like it's important for you to have that label, for you to have that title, then cut your losses. Don't waste any more time or energy on this person. You could be friends, but be friends at afar, and make sure you do the necessary healing. Because sometimes when you're in the type of situationship where feelings are developed and you create a bond or connection with this person, and this is probably something that happened in the past too, with the reading I did earlier, where you may have been in like I said, friends with benefits or FB type of situation. Some of you may need to consider cutting your losses and moving on. Because there could be somebody better coming along. And that's based on the reading I did earlier. So if you didn't see it, I suggest you see it. 2 of Cups, the Lovers, and 10 of Pentacles. I mean, that's a relationship dynamic, especially someone who wants long-term relationship, long-term stability, commitment, abundance, What else? What else does the collective need to know? Breaking rules. Being with you will cause controversy, but they're ready to break social norms to be with you. Trust in miracles. So I don't know if some of you are in these kind of taboo type of relationship dynamic where, and this came out in a reading. I did all signs reading yesterday, and I did no contact reading the day before for all the signs. The readings are time-stamped for each individual sign, so feel free to check that out. Feel free to cross-watch. Watch all the strongest placements in your chart. If you want more, and it's just to see if the messages resonate with you at all, But I remember something about I think it was yesterday. I don't know if it was yesterday. I know I did a reading. No. It's a reading I did yesterday, and it's about relationship coming public. It was the live stream I did yesterday. It's around 46 minutes. That reading was talking about a relationship coming out. Maybe some of you, the sneaky link card came out. So sneaky link is not only someone who's involved in a third party situation. It could just be that you're having a secret relationship. For some of you, your relationship may be something that may not be accepted because maybe you work together, you go to the same church. I know certain companies, even organizations, don't want people fraternizing. So some of you may be in the military, you may be in love with somebody in the military, you're having a secret relationship, there's the fraternization laws or rules or policy, something like that, where if your relationship came public, then, you may face some sort of backlash, you may face criticism, even consequences. But it depends, you know, but it says being with you will cause controversy, but they're ready to break social norms to be with you. Maybe some of you have different religions, different belief systems. Maybe you're from different parts of the world, or even different, did I say ethnicities? Like, maybe you have different skin tone. Maybe somebody's light skin and another person's dark skin. And then it's like, maybe that's not acceptable. And, you know, that's how it is sometimes in the US. And I'm pretty sure it's like that in other countries too. Racism. It could be something like that, where it could even be like, you know how, I know we're having this issue with Iran, and then what's going on with, oh gosh, in Gaza with the Palestinians. I don't know, some of you are Palestinian and you're dealing with you're in a secret relationship with someone who's Israeli, you're Muslim, or you're dealing with somebody who's Jewish, you know, that type of thing, where it's like, it's not acceptable. It could be something like that, but it's like, but it says trust in miracles. For some of you, it could also be in your head too, that you feel like you have to hide the relationship, because it's saying trust in miracles. When it comes out, you may not even face any controversy. Maybe this is controversy that you have in your mind, you know, because you know what, in my mind, I'm thinking like maybe certain people already know that you're already dealing with somebody, and it's like, oh yeah, we were just waiting for you to tell us. And you're like, wait, what? And you made a bigger deal out of something because you were afraid your relationship wouldn't be accepted. Now, it could be a type of situation where you may be dealing with a boss, you know, and that definitely is considered unacceptable, right? So maybe there may be some sort of opportunity that may move you to a different area where your boss isn't your boss anymore, but then now your relationship can be revealed, you know, because there isn't that conflict of interest, you know, there isn't that, hi, Marcia, how are you? There isn't that fear that, you know, someone will get in trouble or someone may be terminated or anything like that. So sometimes it's like, or it could just simply be that some of you are in a relationship that really isn't, you know, maybe not be acceptable in some way, you know? Let me see what time it is, 7:12. Okay, it's pretty good. Let me see. Do I want to keep these cards out? So as I've read them all together, but I also read them separately. I'm trying to decide what to do. I think I'm gonna leave it separate because I could always reference it because I have good memory. Okay. I want to do something fun because I have this new deck. It's called the Swear Tarot. And the way the card is it's tarot cards. It has all the suits and the major arcana, but they have messages on them that could be read as oracle messages. It could be also read as advice messages. So let me see if this is something I could do. I'm thinking about running through the signs, and but the thing is I need to keep track of what sign I'm on. And I don't have my notebook with me. I left it. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to do that because it's going to become confusing for me. And I don't want to confuse you either. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do a general reading with the Swear Tarot, and it will act as an oracle, and then we can clarify with the traditional tarot. I hope you're enjoying these messages and they resonate with you. I feel so much better than I did earlier because if you know, you know. I mentioned it already. I feel better now. I hope everybody's feeling good. Everybody's doing well. That everybody's safe, warm, or cool, because it may be hot where you are, or maybe cold where you are. I'm in New York, and It's kind of like cool. Today actually feels like a spring day. But tomorrow's going to be warmer. It's going to be in the 70s. So last week it felt like summer. I was sweating my balls off. My balls being my boobs. I don't have balls. I'm trying to be funny. Okay, so what messages does the collective need to know? What messages does the collective need to know? What messages does the collective need to know with the Square Tarot? What messages, advice do we have for the collective? I have 3 cards. Wait a minute. The first card we have is Knight of Cups, and it says, an offer comes that sparks love and happiness to your wounded ass. Remember earlier I was reading the love, what was it? Clarifying love situations, and we saw the love offer card. I mean, Knight of Cups is usually an offer, an emotional offer. Usually it's associated with love, right? So it could be a love offer, but it could also be some sort of, it could be another offer that really makes you happy. And it could be with a job or an opportunity that may be coming to you, right? Then the Sun card came out, which is Major Arcana, and it says, laugh until you fart and happiness will follow. I'm just imagining you farting, and then there's like a rainbow behind your ass. That's what popped up in my mind when I read this. And it says happiness. We see the word happiness twice. And then 3 of Pentacles, a group of motherfuckers can help you. So this is about you working within a team dynamic. This could have to do with work. It could be your friends helping you. People who share the same vision, same goals. But then in the bottom of the deck, we have Major Arcana again with the Wheel of Fortune. And it says, a stroke of good luck a stroke of good luck finally fucking arrives. And it says change. So there's going to be some changes that you're going to be experiencing. You know, if you've been hurt, if you're wounded, you're in the process of healing, there's going to be something coming towards you that is going to incite and spark happiness within you. You know, it's just really going to make you very happy. Maybe you have a more positive, sunny outlook about the future. And it may have to do with a work situation. It could be maybe a personal project where you're working with other people on the same thing. It could be a work dynamic. Maybe there's a new opportunity, I don't know, like I'm thinking that, I don't know if anybody's in marketing or where they have to work with other people and you're working on a project, but it's something that you're really passionate about. But it's also you getting the support that you need. But a stroke of good luck finally fucking arrives. Change. I don't know, like it seems like some of you are in need of some support, some love, something that's just going to make you feel good and hopeful and optimistic about what may be coming to you in the future. You know, that there's something to look forward to in the future. And just so everybody knows, I curse. And it's not a big deal, you know. It's not that big a deal. I've been cursing since I was 3 years old. And I never claimed to be a classy lady. You know, I'm just me, you know, I'm just me. Okay, tell us about the Knight of Cups, Spirit. What is this Knight of Cups? Who is this Knight of Cups? That card flew. Page of Pentacles. An offer comes that sparks love and happiness to your wounded ass. So it could be some sort of gift, some sort of token of appreciation, but it could also be a financial incentive that may be coming towards you that you may not be expecting. But tell me more about the Knight of Cups. But it could be, pages are messengers, so they bring a message. So you're receiving some sort of message or gift or opportunity. Then we have 3 of Wands. Maybe it's something that you've been waiting for. Maybe you put something out there. I don't know if some of you have applied for a job. Maybe even sent out a message to someone. Maybe maybe some of you are hoping that someone will ask you out. Maybe out for coffee, something small, but it's something a spark that can turn into a flame, you know? Hi, Heidi. Just so you know, I'm not answering any questions, okay? So please don't put any questions in the chat. Yeah, I feel like someone is either waiting for you, waiting for a response from you, or you're waiting for a response from someone. So maybe you put an application out. You did something that initiated some sort of action, and you're just waiting for the result to come in. But it could be somebody waiting for you too. When I look at this card, it just reminds me, love me not, because this is sunflower here, right? But just the way he's laying down in the grass, it's like someone who's like daydreaming, maybe even fantasizing. And I could just imagine someone, it doesn't have to be just because there's a masculine on the card. It could be anybody who is thinking and wondering, if something is going to happen. And, does somebody like me? Does somebody love me? Like the, love me not type of thing. Like someone who's pulling at the pedal. Remember we've seen that. I don't know if you've done that. I don't know if I've ever done that. But we have the Emperor card. So it could have to do with a job offer, but it could be about maybe somebody that you really, really like, someone who maybe at a place of, may have a lot of authority, status. It could be an Aries that you're waiting for. I don't know if some of you are dealing with a father figure, because the Emperor is a boss energy, an authority figure, but they're also a father figure, a paternal figure. But I don't think it's like a family. Like, I don't think it's a father, I think, because I'm not getting that. It could be a job, or it could be you're dealing, or someone that may have Aries in the chart, or just embodies that, the Emperor energy, may be coming towards you with an offer, or you may be the Emperor yourself. Okay, so what is the Sun? Laugh until you fart and happiness will follow. Happiness. What is this happiness? What is being illuminated? What will they learn? What will make them happy? We have the Hanged Man. So, this is something that you've been waiting on. Something that you've been waiting on. It could be something you've had a change of perspective about. And that may be where the happiness may be coming from, because you're looking at things from a different angle. Maybe you were looking at things in a more negative way. Maybe you're changing your mindset and being more positive and optimistic, which is something I said earlier today too. Earlier. Anything? Tell me more about the Hangman. Four of Pentacles. You may have been holding back, may have been reserving yourself, reserving your energy. Have you been holding yourself back from doing something? Hopefully you're not holding your fart, because it says laugh until you fart. So hopefully you're not holding in a fart. And Six of Wands. So the Hangman is Pisces energy, right? So like I said, it's looking at things from a different perspective. It could be a period of pause, or maybe a change of perspective, and also a period of pause. I feel like there's something that you may have been holding back from because of a negative mindset or mindset you have about maybe finances or even your self-worth. Maybe you didn't want to put yourself out there because, I don't know, like for some reason, I always think of this person as hiding behind the sunflowers, like he's peeking. I don't know if there's something that you've been wanting to do, but you may have not been very optimistic about how successful you would be at it. But it could also be like maybe you're withholding from this offer, it could be somebody that's waiting for you. Maybe there's somebody waiting for you, or this is you. This is the person that's waiting for you, or this is you because you're holding back. I'm trying to find a way to put this, and my nose started itching. Jeez. Oh my gosh, my nose. Yeah, I feel like you've been holding back. Because if there's some sort of love offer coming in, you're like holding back because you not want to lose. Because the Four of Pentacles is someone who holds back, feels safe and secure where they are, but they also don't want to lose that safety. That it's like being in your comfort zone. You don't want to lose that comfort zone you're in, but it's like, like you're like maybe thinking, it doesn't hurt to try. I don't have to, it doesn't have to be a big deal. I could just do something and I could see how it goes. But I feel like if you take some sort of risk, and it's funny because the Wheel of Fortune was at the bottom of the deck, a stroke of good luck finally fucking arrives. I curse. It's not a big deal. Okay? Six of Wands. It's going to be victorious. It's going to go well for you. It's going to be a success. It's going to be victory. If you've been holding back from this and overthinking, because now I'm thinking Four of Pentacles could be like you're overthinking, and you're wasting time. You're wasting time. I don't know how many positions you changed into. I don't know, like if you were like up here, like were you laying down? Were you on your back, on your side, on your stomach? And then now you're doing headstands. You're doing the tree pose. I don't know what you were doing. But this could be the other person too, with hope, you just like someone's holding back or you've been holding back, but it's like, no, take the first step, take the step forward and happiness will follow. Happiness will follow. Look at that. I see a lot of animals, and it's making me think of abundance. It's about freedom, freedom and abundance. You see the horse there. Horses represent freedom. I think it could be something that's I don't know if some of you want to want to elevate too with the Emperor card, because now I'm thinking about leadership. I don't know, some of you want to be a leader. I don't know, do you have some sort of fear of becoming a leader and that's why you hold back? Because there's a lot of responsibilities. You may not feel like you could be an effective leader. If that's the case, it's like saying, no, this offer that's coming towards you, if it's a job offer, you have what it takes. It wouldn't be offered to you unless you had what it takes. Stop denying yourself success. Stop holding yourself back. Stop staying in your comfort zone, So, and also this is about you taking leadership and authority over your life. Maybe you've made mistakes in the past and you didn't like the results. But the thing is, your mistakes are lessons, So I just feel like don't hold yourself back because of your past. Don't limit yourself because of the past, Because with the Three of Pentacles there, it's like indicating, like I split the deck. And the Knight of Pentacles, this is about independence. This is about abundance. This is about stability, security. That's what's going to happen. And it could be within a relationship itself, or this is how someone sees you. They see you in this energy, whether you're feminine or masculine, I know it shows a feminine figure, but easily a man could be a Nine of Pentacles too, But it's like whatever, there's the support you need is there where it's needed, because not everybody needs support. Excuse me, because you have a group of motherfuckers can help you. Okay, I want to know, what is this Three of Pentacles? What is this Three of Pentacles? Huh. I'm thinking what if the group of motherfuckers are spirit? Your spirit, your angel team. You're like, why are you going to call angels the MNFers? They don't care. Remember, if you believe in angels, if you believe in God, they know your heart. Regardless of what you say, how you say it, they know your heart. We got the Page of Swords. It's about observing, learning. I don't know, some of you may feel like you're going to be inexperienced with something, but yeah, the inexperience, whenever we start something new, we are inexperienced in something. But in order for us to become experienced, we have to learn. We have to gain experience through the process. That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. And regardless of the situation, or if it's work, it could even be relationships. It could be healing. But tell me more. So these are people that are gonna help you. But it could be people or angel team, spirit guides. They're gonna guide you through peace. They're gonna guide you away from conflict, whatever internal conflict you may be experiencing. I don't know if some of you doubt if you can learn something new. But the thing is, like, you have to have that beginner's mindset, because that's what the Page of Swords is. He's a beginner. One of the things we have to understand as human beings is that we don't know everything because information, knowledge is infinite. There's so much to learn, and there's stuff we're continuing to learn. There's things that have yet to be discovered. And anybody who is awakened, who is awakened, they are aware of that. We don't know everything. And if anybody acts like they know everything, then they're an idiot. They're an idiot that should be just ignored, because nobody knows anything, everything. Nobody knows everything. God knows everything. The universe knows everything, but not us. Our experiences are finite, because we haven't experienced every single thing that a human being can experience, But it's like, you're going to be guided towards peace of mind, peace of heart. You're going to be guided along the way. You're going to be supported, helped, advised. In order to become an effective leader, you have to be a follower, right? Because you already know, like, why do you follow somebody? It's because there's a certain je ne sais quoi that this person's leader has, that you resonate with. But then if you want to be just as great as that person, you have to learn from them. And so some of you may be getting mentors that are going to teach you. Yeah, so you're going to be closing out a cycle with something. It doesn't have to only be work, because in a healing process, you could have support where people are helping you, or angels, spirits, whatever you believe in, because we have different beliefs, right? God, universe, spirit guides, angels. You're going to be guided through the process, this healing process. And it's going to allow you to close out a cycle, whether it's about you closing out a cycle where you're no longer limiting yourself, not believing in yourself, and allowing yourself to experience success, going through that threshold and entering a new phase in your life, a new cycle in your life that's unfamiliar. But you're going to be having the support that you need along the way. They're going to allow you to close some sort of door, But the thing is, in order for there to be change, you have to be willing to make the changes. You have to be willing to accept that there are changes, acknowledge the fact that there will be changes that need to be made, especially when you're closing out a cycle, because you can't take your baggage with you into something new. It's like I say about moving into a new apartment. You're not going to take your broken couch and your pissy, old, dingy mattress, right? You're going to want new things. But that's how you have to be. You have to be new. You have to be different. You have to have a different mindset. You're going to have a different level of optimism. And you're also going to have a new level of confidence. You have to be self-assured, You can't be the person you were before, the person that stood in the sidelines, the person that was always waiting and, watching and observing, but no longer, like, not getting involved, not putting yourself out there. It's making me think about that circus song from Britney Spears. There's only two types of people in the world, the ones that entertain and the ones that observe. Do you want to continue to observe life, or do you want to get in there? Do you want to participate in life? Do you want to observe life, or do you want to participate in life? Do you want to participate in your life? Or are you going to be watching other people live theirs? Because that's how it is sometimes when you're stuck on social media. But I feel like once you start to make this change, you're going to see the improvements that are going to come towards you. A stroke of good luck finally fucking arrives. But the thing is, it's like, you have to make the necessary changes. You have to clear the blockages, clear the clutter, clear the ego, clear what doesn't serve you. And focus on what you want to grow. Focus on what you want to prosper with the Eight of Pentacles. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And definitely ground yourself. Don't let your ego get the best of you. You know, whatever fears that you have. And it's weird. I was watching this movie and the person was like an emotional support person, right? And she was telling the person, what is your biggest fears? But what is your desired outcome? This is about transmuting, okay? Like, this is what I don't want to happen, but this is what I want to happen. So take the energy from the negative and put it towards the positive. You know, this is called transmutation. Don't focus on only the negative, because if you're only focusing on the negative, that's where you're pouring your energy into. So, but you could transmute that, but like, well, okay, this is my biggest fear, but let me look about what will be my greatest wish. And then you take that energy and you change it into something positive. You know, laugh until you fart and happiness will follow. Being optimistic, not letting your fears, your worries, your anxieties control you and cause you to be in a place of imbalance. This is about you balancing your emotions and balancing your thoughts, balancing yourself out, you know, and focusing, like I said, focusing on what you want, not what you don't want, because that's where you're pouring your energy to. Remember what I said, like, try this. Some of you try this. Ask just to see if you're connected. Do you truly believe that there's a higher source out there? Ask them for a sign. Ask them for something specific and don't tell anybody. It's only for you. I didn't tell you what I asked for because you don't need to know what I asked for, but ask and see if that sign comes to you. Do you see that sign for yourself? You know, just do that. It's supposed to help you with being more optimistic, that you're being supported, you're being heard. You know, I know not everybody agrees with that, but, you know, if you're watching tarot videos, then you have to have an understanding of that too. You know, that's part of spirituality, you know. But I understand some people are still skeptical about that stuff. But the thing is, like, it doesn't hurt to try, you know. I feel like that was a really good reading. I think it's really good. I think I'm pretty much done with this reading, this live stream. So I hope all of you resonated with this reading in some way or another. And if it does resonate with you, I hope it resonates with you in the best way possible. I thank you for allowing me to read for you. I thank you for watching, for liking, and possibly subscribing. I go live twice a day. And I'm not usually live on Wednesdays, but lately I've been making exceptions by coming to work when I'm supposed to be remote. I'm supposed to be remote, but I come to work just so I can have the space to do a live stream, because I really do enjoy reading, doing the general collective readings and also starting the all signs. So let me say hi to some people. I saw Chantal said hi. Hi, Chantal. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Heidi. And saying hi to Marcy again and to Good Luck. And Paula and Carolyn, thank you so much for joining. And Suvra, thank you. And you probably left because I said I wasn't answering a question, because some people, they keep asking the same question about the same person and it gets a little bit... You know how it is when you have that friend that keeps talking about the same shit over and over again, and you're like, are you still on that shit? Are you still talking about that? Can you get that? There's a card actually in this deck that says, get the fuck over it. But I know some things are hard to get over. As someone that I'm like, anyone who understands how it is to be a Scorpio, you know how we are, how we can be about certain things. We could hold grudges or resentment. You know, we could be that way when we're in our negative shadow side, you know. So I understand how challenging it is to try to release something, to let go of something. So when I say that, I'm not saying like it's easy to let go, to get over something, because I know from my own experience that it's not. But my advice is for anyone who is experiencing a difficult time releasing something, you have to accept the situation for what it is. There's nothing that you can do or say that can change something. especially if you've already tried. The best thing you can do for yourself is think, at least I tried. I tried, but it wasn't, it's not meant for me, and move on, you know? That's what I have to do. That's what I have to tell myself when I have to release something. So I suggest that advice too. If you're not happy with a situation and there's a lot of resistance and there isn't any changes, you're going to have to accept it for what it is and move on. And this is for you to protect your peace. This is for you to protect your happiness and for you to allow yourself to experience happiness. Because if you're holding on to something that is making you sad and is draining you emotionally and puts you in a depressive state, it's not good for you. And that's something that you need to release. When you're holding on to something that's hurting you, you're hurting yourself because you're choosing to hold on to something that isn't for you. You know, you deserve to be happy. I'm going to be your reminder. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved. If someone doesn't want to reciprocate it, if someone doesn't want to respect you, fine. That's the way you want to be. I accept it, but I don't have to accept this anymore. I release you. I release this. It takes time. It hurts. It definitely hurts, but you deserve to be happy. You don't need to be blocking your happiness because you're holding on to something that is making you unhappy, So I thank you all for joining, for liking, and possibly subscribing. I hope to see you next time. And I hope you all stay safe and protected and loved. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.